people need to understand that where they are is not where they're going to stay. If you've got a fixed mindset and you don't think your actions are going to help at all, you're going to stay exactly where you are and you're going to sway to your emotional win. It's about having that growth mindset, knowing that you can, through your efforts, change the outcome.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. As you know, my name's Rick Nusky, and actually, for those who have never been with us before, welcome to the show. Not sure how you found us, but I'm sure you're in for a treat because on today's show, I'm with the wonderful Shea Fox. Welcome to the show, Shea.
Hey, Rick, how are you?
I'm very well. I've got 2 feet and a heartbeat. I like to say I can't really complain too much. Now, you and we're going to be talking about your work as a mindset training and nutrition coach at Fox Fit Elite Coaching. And we're going to actually take a deep dive in how you can overcome personal vices, master your mindset, and crush your training and nutrition requirements with your 3-step simple system. That's a mouthful that anyone with a smartphone can use to achieve long-lasting results. Now, before we do that, I know that you have an incredibly powerful backstory. So let's start at the start. Where are you calling in from today?
I'm calling from Noosa. So it's in the Sunshine Coast here in Queensland, Australia.
Very nice, very nice. Well, look, I'm in McLaren Vale, so I'm just a stone's throw away in South Australia. But the one thing I can ask you about the East Coast at the moment, are you getting smashed with bad weather up there at the second?
Yeah, it just started raining. I was just out driving around before, and yeah, it's just started raining. But it's only just started.
Yeah, wow.
Hour. Yeah.
So what do you love about Noosa?
Oh, mate, the beaches. I love the beaches. Absolutely love them. Yeah.
Now I can go into great depths about so many different things, but what we normally do, and it's customary for us to learn a little bit about not only where you are and the things that you like doing, but there's one thing I saw in your reels was you jet skiing, and it looks like you had a great time with a friend. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we like to go out. It was usually so he works up in Gympie, so he's in kind of inland a bit, so he doesn't get to go out as much. So we have like our one set day that we go out, which is on a Tuesday.
Yep.
We just like to go up and down the river and jump some waves, and then we'll go around to a couple of the points and just check out the waves. So yeah, I really enjoy that, and that's my really close mate Luke.
Yeah, I noticed that in the write up there, he was there when you needed him the most. How important are friends to you?
Oh my God, he was unbelievable. He was the one person that stuck by me and called me every evening when I was at my worst, because he could sense it. Like we were communicating during those times.
Yep.
And he just being a long friend like that. Like I've known him for 15 years. He was just always there, and I guess he could pick up on how bad it was for me. And yeah, so to have someone there is amazing that you can talk to and rely on is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's great insight. Thank you very much. Now, tell me, do you like movies? And if so, what do you watch?
Yeah, I love movies. I like Fight Club. Fight Club is great. But I'm also a big Robert Downey Jr. fan and the Marvel movies. I love my Marvel movies.
But they haven't seemed to have done much lately. I think they're about due for something new, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I think they had the Ant-Man series come out and whatnot. But yeah, once the Marvel Avengers series came through, I was pretty excited for those.
So you much of an Ant-Man fan? I'm not. I don't really.
Not particularly. No, he's just one of the add-ons. He's all right. But I'm more of a Thor, Hulk, Iron Man one. Yeah.
I'm a bit of a Thanos guy myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the villain. It's all in the story, which you've got an amazing story to tell. Now, I know that you've had a great deal of involvement in the music scene. Tell us a bit about your DJing. What's your favourite music, and are you still doing it?
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it at all. I had thought about getting back into it, but look, I'm really on a completely different journey now, and I feel like I've kind of done that. I've done the DJing, I've done it to death, and I've done it more than most. I've done it more. I went so far as to buy a nightclub through it, and really got into the party scene heavily, the drugs, the alcohol. So
yeah, all the rest of it.
Yeah, so I'd done enough of the DJing. I loved it. I did it for about 7 years and transitioned out of that as using it as kind of a support thing. Whenever I needed a DJ, I could always rely on myself because I owned the club, so I could have that kind of safety net there. But yeah, so I've gone through that and went to buy a club and that was kind of the beginning and the end of my entertainment career.
Well, tell me, what did you learn about running a business by owning one? You grew up pretty quick.
Yeah, very quick. But the party, it's not everyone wants to party there because they're all in that mood, but you're there every night. So you shouldn't be the one trying to party with everyone there every night.
Yeah.
And so, and that took me, a lot because I'm a very sensitive person. So I always am sensitive to how people are feeling. So I try and get on their level a lot, which kind of it didn't work in my favor because I'd always just end up using drugs to kind of get on the same level as everyone else. And I could never say no. That was my issue as well.
Well, that's the thing. We'll talk about mindset and I guess internal strength in a moment. But looking through your reels, I didn't see many pets. Have you ever had pets in your life? Do you like pets?
Yeah. I've had a little French bulldog a while ago, but it was my business partner's dog, and I used to look after him a lot. But no, I haven't had a lot of pets. I'm not big on. I'm after looking after myself.
Yes.
And I've got to get that under control before I go trying to look after something else. But I do have a girlfriend.
So there you go. You're making progress.
Yeah.
Oh, does she keep you in line?
She does. She's fantastic. And she's lovely. She's a beautiful soul.
Very good. Thank you very much for sharing. And this is a great part of the call for me, Shea, because it gives context to what you're doing now, because I think your backstory is really going to reveal to everybody who's on the call. And I bet you there's going to be a lot of people listening that take a lot away from this. Now, before we shift gears and talk about that, as somebody who has a physique like you must look after yourself every single day. Tell us about your daily routine. Tell us about your diet. Tell us about your nutrition and so forth.
Definitely. Okay. Well, my day starts at 3:30 a.m. I'm up every day at that time, no matter what. And I'm big into the steak and my meat, and so I'll have a steak first thing when I wake up. Have some pre-workout. Head straight to the gym. Be there for about 2 hours, and then I'll head home. Have my breakfast or my shake, my post-workout shake, which will have like blueberries, eggs, water. It'll have protein powder. It has pineapple in it. It's just a little bomb straight after the gym. So, and then once I get home, I'll do a little bit of work, and then I'll just have my eggs, or I'll have some sort of post-workout meal, which would be, But I track all my food, so I've got to watch my macros there. So, I always blow my fats out with my avos because I love avos. but I'm big, and then after that I'll have maybe some mince. I'll have a mince and rice meal, but really plain. I'm plain. I don't mind having just mince and fruit. I could live on that.
Beautiful.
Absolutely live on that.
There's lots of complexity for those who want to get caught up in this part of their world. Nutrition can be very complex, and you hear about electrolytes, and you see these, I think they're rubbish drinks coming through nowadays, the likes of the Primes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if they're any good, are they?
The Primes, I haven't had the Primes. They're the protein ones?
I understand them to be. I don't know much more about them.
No, I haven't dipped into them either. I haven't had a look.
So do you ever drink coffee or anything like that?
Yes, definitely. I do like my caffeine. I like my pre-workouts, but I have maybe one coffee every morning, no matter what.
Every morning. Yeah, wow, at 3:30 a.m.
No, not at 3:30. No. So that's something after my post-workout shake.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's a relief. Otherwise, you'll never sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
I tend to not have caffeine after 2 p.m. is my kind of rule.
Yeah, now look, I know that you've taken a chance. You've got, I guess, a risk-taking, somewhat of a risk-taking behaviour. You took a chance on your life, basically, when you took drugs. But I think if you go back one step, people who have not met you before and through this show, they're going to need to know about your upbringing. Tell us a little bit about what that was like for you.
I had quite a rocky upbringing. There was not much stability there, and there was a lot of physicality from physical trauma from my father at the time. He was very physical and significantly abusive. I won't get into that, but it was bad enough that the teachers had to take me away from there. Like, they wouldn't let me go home one day, and I was put into foster care straight from there. So it was, and then I was bounced around in foster care for some time, a couple of years there between families, which was a wild ride because you could never get any friends because you're moving homes all the time. But it was a really uprooting time for me emotionally. And at that point, I really, I was at such a young age. I was about 12, and I was, I had to turn inwards, had to really realize, like, how the hell did I get in this situation? Why am I not good enough? And asking those questions at such a young age, looking back, was significant. I thought that was very significant.
Yeah, I was listening to your time on the Awakening podcast recently.
Yep.
And it was a great call. I really enjoyed it. And I took away some things about that. And I had to ask you, what has domestic violence taught you about your own behaviour and whether or not you become a parent yourself? Are you better prepared, do you think?
100%. I understand it from being in the fearful point where you just want it to stop. When you'll say anything, just to make it stop, like, you'll scream, like, and the thing is, you're quiet. you don't have a voice in that situation. You're just getting flogged, and you're wondering, what are you doing wrong? And I mean, from my point of view as a kid, like, I loved my father regardless. So it was hard for me. I don't know from any other point of view than that. I never saw my mother get beaten up because I was really, really quite young. But yeah, it was only experienced from my point.
It's a tough pill to swallow, and I think it's probably done a lot for your character, your strength, and your mindset. Tell me a little bit about your mindset today, and whether or not, are you unwavering in your commitment to things you do nowadays?
Yeah, definitely. I've got a process that I've committed to, and I took that stand once I got sick of the way my life was going. It was just, I was on this downward spiral, and it seemed like one thing after another, and I was just like, how the hell did I
How are
get
you
here?
going to do this? Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just, I had to cut away all of the distractions, all of the games, all the things that I was using my time for that weren't serving me. And, that was a staple in keeping me stable and helping me to get what I wanted and get after what I wanted. And then through that, I just started developing the non-negotiable mindset. I stopped negotiating with myself. If I predefined that it was valuable and I had to do it, I did it. And that's just how I've been ever since.
A non-negotiable mindset, that's wonderful. I know that you and I touched on the Marvel universe before, and I always love to ask people that say those sorts of things to me, if you could be one of those characters, what would be your superpower?
Oh, my superpower.
Now I got you.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it.
Would it be strength? Would it be physique? Would it be the ability to love
I always think being able to teleport instantly, be somewhere instantly.
Yeah, love it.
That would be cool.
Now, is more nowadays, or is less more for you? Do you like to
less is more?
Take time away from everything occasionally?
Definitely, but I think you need to cut away the things that aren't serving you, and that goes back to your vision. You need to know what you want. You need to know what you want, otherwise you won't be able to define if you're straying or if you're focused on what you're doing. And now, for me, it's important to take some time to walk in nature, or to turn off all my phone and my devices, so I try and get all my content and everything done, because I do put a lot of pressure on myself. But that's something that I've grown necessary. I need that pressure for me, because if I don't have that pressure on myself, I will descend back into comfort and pleasure seeking, and not being as goal orientated or driven as I should be.
I personally can understand how easy it might be to go, what, those past days where I was partying, it was so easy to pick up this and that and take this and that, and it was real fun, and I had a great time. I was able to forget for a while. Do you think you'd ever go back to that
No.
as an excuse?
No way. I did it to the extreme. And I did it to the point where I've done it. I've done all of that. I've done the Wolf of Wall Street almost type stuff, and I'm not proud of that, but I took advantage of the situation I was in, because I thought that was the best thing to do. But looking back, I didn't take advantage of it. That was the worst thing I could have done. Did I get a lot of insight from that? Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
A lot of insight to the way people treat you and the way people act when they want something out of you. So, there was a very enlightening situation.
See, the thing about all that, Shea, is that you can't buy experience, you have to live it, and you've done exactly that. And I'm pretty sure the clients that you work with are benefiting from that. And we'll talk about them in a moment. Now, tell us about your past life with addiction and alcoholism. How long was that? Was that many years, or how long was it?
The whole time that I was in the music industry, I had particular occasions where it was more periods of months where it was more than others, and that was more of the people that I was hanging with. So it was really relationship, and that might have just stemmed from my childhood, where I was dependent on my friends, because my friends were all I had when I didn't have my family around. So maybe I was looking for something there, maybe I just wanted to fit in. I'm still unpacking that.
Do you find that talking about it and sharing your story helps you to heal?
Definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. And we've talked about your great mate earlier. When people are vulnerable, do they turn to you now as clients, and how important are relationships with them?
Definitely. It's probably the most exciting part and the most beneficial part of what I do, is when someone is so vulnerable and they're in a position where they're scared, they're worried, and they come to me seeking advice, or they come to me just to have someone to talk to and to listen to, even just to say, hi, how are you doing? They're vulnerable in a way, and they need someone to talk to, because they're bidding for your attention.
It's a tough corner to turn to say enough is enough. Tell us about the struggle, that tangential moment where you're going, this is it, I'm making a change. And what struggles did you go through? I think it's important to share.
Yeah, well, so my actions were, how would you say, they were enabling the actions of others around me. And I really, really believe in that, you're responsible for yourself and everyone else you're networked with.
Yeah.
And I believe that 100%. And just to see from my business partner, more importantly, when I was at the Rolling Rock, was, I could have stopped us from doing what we did and going as far in the party, and just to see how the results of that have impacted his life is, it still to this day concerns me, and it still to this day gives me a bit of anxiety, and I should have acted better in that situation, and that kind of is what spurs me forward.
Now, one of the things that I noticed from listening to your other interview is that the movement from one foster care home to another, and that obviously is quite disruptive. But I also learnt that your grandparents stepped in at some stage. What sort of role have they played for you?
They had a very, very stable, strict role. They put me into a private school. They were very good to me. They were very, very good to me. But at the time, was it a bit restrictive? I felt it was a bit restrictive, but I was just a kid. Hey.
Yeah.
But they were critical in my development, definitely in my development at that age. To put myself together, they were there, and that old fashioned experience is probably what I needed and what best served me.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Shea, for sharing. I'm really getting a lot out of this, as I'm sure the My Future Business audience as well. Now, tell me, are you keen to have your own family one day?
Yes, definitely.
Fantastic. Definitely. Excellent. Now, how is your sharing your story on podcasts help your clients? Do they listen to them often, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think people are just curious to hear more about you, because for me, I need great presenters. I need like you, Rick. You've been fantastic to be able to talk to someone that can really ask the hard questions. Because for myself, it's hard for me to give that all to my clients in one go. So having someone that can just ask the questions straight up is so much more helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm glad you joined me. Now, tell me, what was the genesis of Fox Fit Elite Coaching? It's a great name, by the way. Obviously, Fox is the surname.
Yeah, and the fit it's just Fox Fit. It's just what came to my mind when I was thinking.
Now, you hear a lot of people say they wake up in their daily routine and they go through this process and they check their mindset. Do you have any sort of mantras or mindset tools that you use of a morning?
Of a morning, I don't. I get straight into action. My first thing is, as soon as that alarm goes off, no matter how I'm feeling, I get up, because that's my winning mindset. I believe fully that if you're the first one up, you win. So I just get up and do it anyway, and get those little dopamine kicks going, getting those little trivial tasks done, brushing your teeth, getting your meal out of the way. This process and this program that I follow is what gets me going. And no matter how I've ever felt in the morning, I've always felt better after I've gotten that. And it's not words that I repeat. I don't do meditation or anything, but I do written programming where I write out my goals and I write them continuously, and so I remember them. But I do that of an evening, not of a morning.
See, that's the power of the pen, isn't it?
It is.
You probably don't get the same, I guess, results if you type. Would you agree?
No, there's definitely something different about getting a pen and paper out. Completely different.
Absolutely. Now, I've got a lot of people that I turn to with social media being like it is. I'm flooded by different options, but there's a guy that's in my feeds at the moment. I think he's the swole guy, but not only him, David Goggins as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but he just blows my mind. Do you have people like that in your world? Who do you look to at the moment?
I've got my coach at the moment my mentor is Wes Watson, and he's phenomenal. And I love Jordan Peterson. I love his whole way he articulates everything. I love it. He's a phenomenal speaker, and I really resonate with that. And that was one of the things that helped me through what I was going through, was watching his videos as well.
He's very down to earth and very misunderstood, I would think. Do you
Definitely.
agree?
I agree, 100%.
So in terms of personal development, what is it and why is it important to the people that you work with?
Well, I think people need to understand that where they are is not where they're going to stay. They'll stay if they do not have a growth mindset. If you've got a fixed mindset and you don't think your actions are going to help at all, you're going to stay exactly where you are, and you're going to sway to your emotional winds. So it's about having that growth mindset, knowing that you can, through your efforts, change the outcome, of the situation that you're in.
So what you think about, you bring about physically, and that changes your whole
Definitely.
life. Now, is it on balance? Do you need everything to get a balanced life, do you think?
I mean, depends what you call balance, and that's where it comes into talking with a coach, talking with someone who can
Yeah.
kind of see if what you're saying is balance. But if people talk about great drinking, I don't believe that is even questionable, because I don't believe drinking in any situation is okay anymore. I don't think drugs in any situation is okay, even a little bit. I think people that have to relax for a drink, that's an excuse. And I mean, people can do what they want, but I don't allow my clients to go drink, and I prefer they don't, because
Yeah.
I know what it's like. Because you remove your responsibility, and all of a sudden you'll do things and all the stupid things I've done. I've been drunk or high. So
Yeah, wow. And excuses are really just a form of laziness. Would you agree?
definitely, people don't want to be uncomfortable. Like, we know they don't. The only reason you make an excuse about it is you don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. And this swole guy that I listen to, he's on there and he's like, hey you. And he looks down the reel and he says, is that you? You're looking great. How much is that positive encouragement, not only but for you, but for your clients? And how often
Yeah.
do you do it? Daily?
Yeah, the positive encouragement is just seeing them smile. Like, I see some of my clients at the gym, and just seeing them smile, and they know that they're on the path, they're on a trajectory that's better than what they were, and they can see a way out. The weight's dropping off. They're not drinking, they're not doing drugs. The relationships that they're with their girlfriends are improving. So yeah, it's fantastic seeing those smiles.
See, when you get the pump and the endorphins are running, I guess that's a form of drugs now, isn't it? Really?
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And how often do you personally actually train? Do you do it 3 times a day?
Yeah, at times. It depends how I'm feeling, because if I've got a lot on that day, I'll work out 3-4 times a day. But these will just be little micro workouts. So like 50 to 150 push-ups. I'll go hit the floor to ceiling ball for a bit. But I do my one workout in the morning, which is my long workout. And that just gets me started. That's where I take out all my anxieties, where I take out all my stress. And that just removes all the negativity that I've got on. Because I wake up quite emotional and negative.
Yep.
That's just who I am. I don't know why, but I've noticed I always wake up feeling like that.
I feel you.
Yeah.
And you just have to burn it off, don't you?
Yeah, just have to get that pump, and I always feel phenomenal when I leave the gym.
Yeah, and you look phenomenal. What you're doing with yourself is just amazing. Now, tell me a little bit about your ideal client. Who are they? What do they look like? What are they going through?
My ideal client is anyone that's struggling, anyone that needs someone to talk to, anyone that has addictions or drugs that they can't get off, or they can't get over. Anyone that's struggling with relationships, I help with that. Like, my ideal client is anyone that is willing to listen to my advice and understands that, or isn't in physical condition and needs help getting the weight off, and needs help solidifying their bodily discipline.
Now, I know that there's a lot of people, their modus operandi is either face-to-face or a combination of online and face-to-face. What do you do?
Well, I do both. I prefer the face-to-face. Face-to-face is nice, because I can meet the person. But online's fine. Zoom, these days, it's like being face-to-face.
Yeah, fantastic. So if somebody you're working with actually lapses, what's the process? How do you get them back on track?
Well, they tend to not tell me. Yeah.
Can you tell though?
If they do that, it'll be close to the end of their program, and they'll go quiet. I'll watch their workouts. They'll stop doing their workouts, or they'll miss, or their weight will go up, and I'll be like, "What did you do on the weekend?"
What's going on?
Yeah.
You can't lie to me. I've already walked this path before you.
Yeah.
Now, how do you meet somebody where they are right now? If somebody new, say I came to you and I had an addiction, and how do you meet them where they are? And what sort of a plan do you do?
We just talk over Zoom. So we just schedule in a Zoom call, get to know each other, understand what their limitations are, what they can and can't do, and then we start getting them in the gym. We start getting them in their workouts, get their nutrition dialed in, just understand who they are. But I get a lot of my leads from Instagram. So.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, you've obviously built a community, but at any given point in time, how do they know where you are, and how do you know where they are? Do you have like a community sort of space that you meet, or?
No, so I would like to work on having a big app where everyone gets in, but they all don't know about each other. So at the moment, it's the one-on-one. There's no group at the moment.
Well, I think we're at that point in time that you need to tell us about the 3-step system.
Yeah. So first, it starts on understanding what you can and can't do. So getting an understanding of your schedule and what you need to do. And like I said before, it's dialing in your workouts, and then it's dialing in your habits, and then it's dialing in your nutrition.
So how long does that typically take, Shea?
Well, we do it over for them, it takes only a 1-hour Zoom call or a 60-minute Zoom call. And then after that, it takes me whatever time I have to do to get it all done, whatever I've got on. So, it's a process takes me maybe a day to get them all dialed in completely and get them on track for their program. And then we just kick off from there. And then it's just a 1-hour Zoom call every week.
This lights you up. I can tell you're
Yeah.
passionate about what you do, and it's a real credit to you. So keep up the great work. Now,
Oh,
tell me a
thank you.
little bit about how it makes you feel when you see somebody's body transform in front of you over a period of time.
It feels great. Like, I mean, so you look at them dropping their weight over the time. So I see it before they see it. You see their cheeks suck out a bit, and
Yep.
you know, their skin, they're getting tanned a bit more. They start dressing a little bit nicer. Like you can just tell.
You can
And then
pick it up.
just that weight's dropping. But for me, you know, my biggest transformations have been the people in my one-on-ones, in my face-to-face ones. And he was been phenomenal. He dropped like 10 kilos in 3 weeks. Some ridiculous. It was ridiculous how much weight he dropped.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Now I know that obviously you've got a great presence on Instagram. When did you take that up, and why did you decide Instagram was your thing?
Well, I've always liked Instagram. I've always tried different socials, and I couldn't do more than one social at once. I don't, it's a one-man show. If you want a coach, you talk to me. You don't talk to a virtual assistant. You don't talk to anyone like that. You talk directly to me. So it was too much to manage more than one social. But it's probably about 6 months ago. It'd be about maybe, yeah, 6 months ago that I started my Instagram and started really pushing it. So
Time flies, doesn't it?
yeah, it does.
Now tell me, what's one thing for someone that's struggling that you might that's listening in today? What would you tell them? What's the first thing you tell them to do?
I would say write a bit of a vision for yourself and schedule in the first immediate steps you can do. Just get a schedule, because you need to reset your circadian rhythm. You need to make sure that you're waking up and going to sleep at the right times, because those are going to be staples. Like, you can't operate unless you've got a schedule. Like, you just can't.
Yeah. Do you have intention to have a wider presence? Is this likely to go beyond what you've got now? What are the plans for the business?
Definitely, sure. Well, I would like to be speaking on stages. I would like to be, helping as many people as I can. That would be my dream, to speak with other amazing coaches. Like, I'm still up on this journey as well, just learning as I go, because this is all new to me with the podcast and everything, but I love it. It's phenomenal. So, my vision is developing as I go, but I've got dreams of being on stages in Vegas. I got dreams of being on stages in, around the world. So that's kind of my long-term vision of it.
I can see you having your own website with all the the community center inside of it. You think that might be something you might want to do in the future?
Definitely, getting an audience would be nice. But I love the connection that I get one-on-one, and I mean, having Zoom calls with clients is amazing. Just I don't know, I love and I crave that connection with people, and I know other people do as well. So
Will you be going solo from this time out, or do given that you've got expansion ideas, maybe you'll bring somebody else on?
no, I will stay solo for as long as I can, because I don't want to give up any of that. That's why I do it. So
That's your thing. Look, I can
yeah.
tell you what, this has been one of those calls that have just been jam packed with so much information. It's been a great call. Now, if anybody was on this call wants to connect with Shea, definitely go to his Instagram feed. You'll be very much impressed, like I was. I'll be making sure to put the links back to Shea's Instagram. Is there anywhere else that people can find you, Shea, or is it primarily Instagram?
It's primarily Instagram.
Well, there you go. I'll be making sure that link is below this post. No matter where you see it, you will definitely find the link back to Shea and all of his wonderful work. Make sure you check it out. And with all that being said, Shea, thank you so very much for joining me on the My Future Business Show today.
Thank you very much, Rick. Loved it.